Hey guys, I'm Chris, and this is the longest way AMA. I walked from China to Germany, and I'm here to answer your questions. I was gonna change this to I walked from China to Germany, so you don't have to. Our seventh question is by Albert Lim on Facebook, and Albert wants to know, how often did you think about quitting? There is big thinking about quitting, and there's little thinking about quitting. And the little instances, there were a lot. You know, when you're walking through the rain, through the snow, through the heat, or you're just tired, or you just miss home or miss people, whatever. There were a lot of tiny instances where I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, come on. I'm not making a lot of money. I'm not hanging out with my loved ones, or rather, in the other order. And I'm not even having fun. It sucks. What am I doing? But these were little instances, like tiny little flies, you know, in your face, and you just kind of shush them off, and then you keep going. There were big instances, like true doubt, where I really thought, like, maybe I should just bury this. One time I tried to bury it in the winter of 2008, when I got to Urumqi in northwestern China after 1 year of walking from Beijing. And my, at that time, girlfriend left me. And I thought, what am I doing here? You know, you haven't finished your university degree. The person you loved left you. People think you're a weirdo. And you don't know what you're doing. And nobody cares. So I thought, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to get a haircut, get a shave, go home, become a student, and forget about all of this. Didn't work. I was at home, went back to normal life, got my degree, published some books, made the viral video, did my presentation tours. And in my lonely and sad moments, I would eventually turn on Google Earth, and I would go to the places that I wanted, or that I had wanted to visit on the longest way. There were a few. Samarkand, Istanbul. There's a lake in northwest China that was still 500 kilometers from where I'd stopped. It's called the Sairam Lake. It's a little blue dot on the map, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And I would look at these places, a lot of them, and I would imagine myself going there with a caboose. And that kind of made me happy in those moments. And then I knew, I'm lying to myself. I got to go back. So I went back. It took a few years, 2016, in the summer. I went back and I told myself, okay, now this is it. There's not going to be any quitting, because we know quitting doesn't work. And then again, the big doubts, they hit me. And it was in the winter of 2019, when I'd already done half of Turkey. And I left Turkey to rest in Georgia because I needed to be out of Turkey for 3 months until I could go back in, just visa issues. And then in the winter of 2019, somebody coughed in China. And we all know what happened then. Fucking COVID. And I was stuck in Georgia. And remember, it wasn't like you knew this was going to take 2 years. We didn't know anything. It could have been a few months. It could have been a year, it could have been 2 years, could have been indefinitely. So it was a confusing time. It was a time where I lost my sense of security in the world, like trust, a lot of it. And also I lost a sense of, like, what am I doing here even? You know? Like, shit is really happening in the world. Countries are trying to deal with this thing. And here I am with my mission, with my beard growing. Actually, it stopped growing at that time, but my hair kept growing. And I would take care of the cats outside at this place in Georgia, in Tbilisi, that I was renting, and that kind of made me a little bit happy. But I thought about quitting. I thought maybe it's just not meant to be. And then I talked to my therapist. Got a therapist. Highly recommend. And I talked to him, and I was like, what should I do, man? Like, I don't know. And then he was like, well, if you ask me, and I was prepared for him to say something like, you need to learn to let go, you know? And he didn't. He said, dude, the way I see it, you're in a tunnel. There's only one way. You got to finish this thing. And then you got to promise me to never do this again. Not hiking as such, walking, no. But like to declare that I will go from here to there on foot, no matter what happens. That thing will never happen again. I promised my therapist, I promised everybody, I promised myself. Because I was in this tunnel with all the doubts. And so I let the hair grow, I let the beard grow. And at some point, I started feeling weird. Just my body felt different. And it was the time when the COVID vaccines came out. So I flew to Germany to get a vaccine there. And also to see a doctor to just kind of find out what's wrong with me. Like, why did my body feel weird? I can't even describe it. It's just I get tired more easily than before. And I talked to a doctor, and then they diagnosed me with MS, which sounded like, damn, this is just what I needed. And that was the second time, like major doubt. I was like, how does that work? How do you walk from Turkey to Germany with that? And then I talked to my doctor there, and I was prepared for her to say, yeah, you might want to take it easy now. And she was like, if it makes you happy, do it. Movement is good for you. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start out with 10 kilometers a day. How about that? And she was like, that sounds just fine. And so I did that. And that was the second doubt. And then the third doubt was when I had reached Budapest in Hungary, and I threw out my back in a way, man, like major disc hernia. Like they told me the disc exploded and they wanted to operate immediately. I went to the emergency room, and then they were like, dude, man, this needs to be fixed. Like right now, I was like, you're not touching me. So they kept me in the hospital, on a hospital bed in a neurological ward. And it was right next to the psychiatric ward. So we could hear the screams at night. It was terrible. You don't want to be in a neurological ward in Hungary, man. But my problem wasn't that. My problem was that I could hardly walk to the bathroom. Like I made it every time, but it was just very difficult. I would walk to the bathroom with my back, and I would think, man, I'm still planning to walk to Germany. How the fuck is that going to work? And then at some point, I managed to walk down the hallway and back in my hospital gown, that has the butt open. And it felt like a triumph, but still thousands of kilometers ahead. And I was like, man, what am I doing to myself? Like, maybe it's just not meant to be. And that was the third time. And I thought about quitting. And I didn't. Did physical therapy for 6 months. Stayed in Budapest. And then started walking. And I made it home. So here we are. Yeah. Thanks, Albert, for reminding me of the doubts. In a good way. Peace.